So, all right, so we got a great panel here. So, first of all, I want to introduce you to everybody. So if you guys would introduce yourselves, your market, and your production units you plan on doing this year, you think?
All right, Gusty Gulas, Birmingham, Alabama, and we're on pace. Roll Tide.
Here we go.
On pace for 500 units.
Nice.
Andrew Franklin out of Houston, one of the owners of the Franklin team. We're going to do about 1,100 units for about 350 million of volume.
Yeah. How about that?
Hello, Veronica Figueroa from Orlando, Florida. We are on pace to do 450 units this year.
Andrew Gaydosh from Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati. OH! There we go, my Ohio peeps. We're on pace for right around 315 transactions, and we'll do about 65 million this year.
All right, start with you, Andrew. So what's the one thing that's your superpower? What's the one thing that you're doing right now that's really contributed to your success?
You know, I think part of our strategy, everybody has their own strategy, and of course, a lot of you guys maybe just starting out. Some of you may be in the business as long as we have been, some of us, but as the evolution, as we've gone through, I think is really capitalizing on that hyper-local market and really focused on what we're intentional about, and that is to connect the communities together that we want to dominate. And therefore, I think that's our superpower, is to go into a community, bring the community together, and be the gorilla in the market.
So so talk about that. So you're in Dayton.
Yes.
Big town, huge city, right?
Yeah.
And what's your market share of the lake community that you work?
So we strategically chose a community that's actually 45 minutes from Dayton, and then we replicated that in Dayton, and we have roughly about 65% market share in a community of about 1,500 homes.
What exactly are you doing? First of all, is that impressive? 65% market share? That's unheard of. So what are you doing to have that kind of dominance in that marketplace besides being taller than everybody?
Yeah, I think it's we do everything, meaning that there's not one thing that the community's involved in that we're not a participant in. We're either promoting it, we'll talk a little bit later about content and things like that, but we basically have gone in, again, with the intent that that's what we're going to dominate, and we've gone in from land, air, and sea, postcards to mailers to geofencing to neighborhood groups that everybody's connected. We control the media, so everybody that is communicating through that, like a next door type situation, we own that platform. And and then of course there's not one event that somebody comes to us that wants us to be involved in that we're not wanting to be the major sponsor, and we also put in some really good parties.
Those parties, got it. All right, Veronica.
I definitely feel very similar to Andrew. Like, marketing has been a huge part of our business, and that's what I feel is my little superpower, my secret sauce. I'm really obsessed with just marketing in a way that most people don't market. Like, our lock boxes are wrapped, and you see my big obnoxious face, and everything that we put out is extremely intentional with our marketing. So that's been something that I've developed over the years, and I feel has really set us apart and gained a lot of market share in our market. Very similar to the neighborhood mayor, or always trying new things that most people don't to stand out. And it's been one of the things that I believe has helped us stand out, and I would say one of our superpowers.
Right. Andrew.
Yeah, I would say our biggest, my dad created the team back 35 years ago, and about 20 years ago we started partnering with home builders, and so we have some programs throughout the whole city of Houston where we help home builders sell incremental homes. And so about 50% of our business is direct referral business to those home builders, and it's really allowed us to have predictable and consistent business and really drive our listing count as well.
So for somebody that's in here that wants to go after that builder business, what's your value proposition, or how did you approach these builders for these relationships?
We have a home buyout program where if we don't sell a house, we will buy it from the client. And but not everyone can create a program like that. But I think if you really want to attack the home builder market, you have to figure out what that value proposition is, whether it's relationships or doing their inventory listings or holding their inventory open. And so ours is eliminating buyout or eliminating contingencies and eliminating bust outs, and so that was our value proposition. But I think the way to get those consistent referrals is figuring out what they need and what they want and creating that for them.
Great. Awesome. Gusty.
Yeah, and I think my superpower right now is I'm just in a really good mindset. I'm very consistent. I work out every morning, and that kind of sets my day. Like this morning, we were talking. I worked out at 2:30 this morning, which was pretty crazy. Worked out with a buddy of mine that lives in town, and then yesterday I ran 3 miles on the strip, and so that kind of just starts my day off really well. And so by the time people were up, I had already gotten a workout in and 4 hours of follow-up work.
Right.
So
How do you keep that mindset and that consistency in that?
well, I mean, I just have my vision and my goals, and I really want to attain my goals. And so, I'm just hungry.
Right.
And so that's really the only way I can say it.
All right. So and this is for any of you guys. So what's the secret sauce? All of you have been wildly successful, and I remember the first time I was in an audience and saw people on stage doing not even 1,000. That's like a new milestone that we never had before. But seeing 300, 400, 500 transactions, what's the secret to having this kind of production in business?
I'm not selling 1,000 homes. I want to sell 1,000 homes, but I would say at least what took us from selling, 60 to 75, 100 homes, then breaking 200, 300. It really was a lot mindset. It really was getting clear on our vision, getting very clear on the type of business we wanted to run, the people we wanted to be in business with, hiring talent. I think we spoke a little bit about some of the mistakes we made as well, which is not letting go of people who no longer were aligned with our business, and also just starting to shift our mindset from the transaction to building a business. Building a business and really getting intentional on the vision, getting intentional on what our ideal client avatar is, who we wanted to be in business with, and the type of client we wanted to service. That's where we started really shifting our business, and we started seeing our growth year over year over year, and we learned from our mistakes. And we even talked earlier about we started realizing we weren't paying attention to where the money was going. So that was a big part of our business, was like we were making money, but we were spending money too.
Right.
So when I started realizing, oh my gosh, we're running a business here, we have to start thinking like business owners. That was a big shift for us.
Right.
From going from solo agent to building something that I wanted to impact other people's careers. At least that's what worked for us.
Right.
For us, it's all about the people. And so our culture at our company is super, super important. We have a lot of family members, husband and wife teams. And so with us, if we get the right people, we all have the same vision and the same goal. And we're sort of repeating that over and over. And we don't have to make sure someone's doing their job, because if we have the right people in the room, we're all working to the same goal. And so I think if you're wanting to build a team, you just need to be very upfront with people in the room and making sure that y'all are all on the same page. And we have some of the best people that are all aligned. And so everything else sort of works itself out.
All right.
I would say, to me, it was kind of the turning point. We were, like most of you guys, when you start out, you can be successful just by hustling. The people that are going to hustle the most are going to be successful. You're going to be okay to be able to make your mortgage payment, do what you need to do. But when you start looking at your lifestyle and going, man, is this really what I want to do? Work 80 hours a week, and I can be successful, and your competitive nature takes over, and you just keep doing it. I know Jay and I have had many conversations about this, until you realize that, hey, you really need to take it to the next level, to start to have others around you that are help supporting you to do the right thing. So I think for me, it was getting involved in the coaching program. That's where Jay and I first met, and then emulating what everybody else is doing at all levels. Even if you're an agent starting out, there's somebody in your office that probably is doing a little bit better than you are. Collapse time, go listen to them, see what they have to say. They're going to be happy to help you out. And then implement, and then just keep stepping up. Find better golfers if you want to be a better golfer and play with them. And that was kind of, I think, a change for us, that we just kind of grew exponentially after that.
Yeah, and for me, it's we've created systems and processes, and so every one of our listings goes through the same process, and support staff. I've got support staff that have been with me 6+ years, and just having the consistency has been huge for our business, even with a lot of changeover for our team over the last couple of years. Having the changeover, we kept all of our support staff, and really we didn't miss a beat from losing team members because we just added team members. So the secret sauce really for us was having killer support staff and the systems and processes, and always looking to improve that.
Right. So as far as, let's take it back to like when you first started. So let's imagine you're only doing, you're getting back in the business. Let's say you parachute into a brand new market, and you had to start over from scratch. What's the first thing you would do?
All right, so I think that we need to go back to the basics. This is a people business. It's a contact sport. The more appointments we set, the more business we will generate. And we need to be aligned with people who have perhaps already established the reputation. I'm very biased with teams because I feel like that borrowed authority can fast track your business, and that's why we consistently bring on new talent. I have agents who've been in my business, on my team, and in less than 90 days have $7 million under contract because they're putting in the work, and this is still a basics business. We have to focus on the things that are gonna move the needle, which is appointments, contacts, networking, learning, contracts, open houses. I mean, these things still work, and this is what we should be doing, to grow our business and grow a reputation as a professional in real estate. And if I had to go back, I'd do the same things I did. I was at every community event. I was painting pumpkins. I was, at the 4th of July giving out firework glasses and shaking hands, kissing babies, talking to the neighborhood business owners and saying, what can I do to help you grow your business? And maybe I can redesign your menu, or maybe I can do something to do a little video clip to showcase your business, and just get rub elbows and belly to belly with people. If I were going back into a market, I would just out hustle and outwork people, because a lot of people don't want to do the things that are boring and that require work. And to me, I would say to anybody looking to grow their business or mentor someone is just put in the work and show people you care. And if you make it about others and growing what they want, you're definitely going to become a top producer in that market.
Yeah, yo.
I don't know if you caught that, but number one, she is a badass, number one, right? Yeah, so definitely a honey badger there. But the bottom line is, that's a pro tip. You want to make deposits in people's lives. Even when you don't have a lot to give, you do have some time, hopefully. And you need to make deposits in people's lives. What she talked about was going to other people and saying, hey, how can I help you, before you're asking them for the referral. And I think that's pretty much the foundation of our business in a lot of these communities as we've gone into, and really try to find out how we can help them. Even if it's a Facebook Live, man, you guys, we have the audience. They don't, and it doesn't cost anything, just a little bit of time and effort. And nothing says more to somebody that you care when you reach a hand up to them and try to get them helped out.
Okay, so what is the first thing that you did that got you listings consistently?
I think I just repeated what, let me go back to what I did. I got really intentional with farming. I knew that there were agents who had a better success track record than I did when I moved into a neighborhood. My neighborhood is Avalon Park, and there were agents who I absolutely respected and I loved, and I looked at what they were doing, and I emulated a lot of what they were doing. But then again, I saw what they weren't doing, and I was willing to do the things that they weren't doing. And I just got really intentional with farming. And farming was important to me, but I didn't have a big budget, so I was out there. I put myself out there, and I was willing to work the weekends, work the nights, and do the things that a lot of times, this was 10, 11 years ago, when the REO market shifted, and I knew I was doing REOs, and I was like, oh my gosh, things are starting to level out. How can I become the neighborhood expert? Then I just really got out there and I showed people, whether it's open houses, door knocking, circle prospecting, mailers, I know why your home didn't sell. Those things were the things that we did back then. That if I were to say again, if I had to start from scratch, we should still be doing those things because they still do work. There's so many creative ways now that we can now tell sellers that there's more ways than one to sell your home than what we've always known. But back then, what I did was, again, I got really intentional. And, you start with one listing. That one listing is golden. It's like I'm door knocking, I'm doing 20 million open houses if I have to. And that really started positioning us as the authority in our community. And yeah, I mean, I would say that's really what started for us. And then we just got obsessed with marketing, obsessed with reinvesting in our business. And a lot of agents, what we do is we get paid and the money's already spent. You know, I really got intentional with reinvesting in my business and reinvesting in my name because I wanted to position myself as the authority in that community. And even if you're not a listing agent, go to a listing agent who doesn't want to do open houses on their own on their own homes. You'd be amazed how many agents and just borrow their authority to get additional listings. I think that'll definitely position you as, you know, a listing agent that's excited to help more people.
I mean, I think the theme that she's sort of saying is you got to figure out what works for you, and once you figure that out, you repeat it. So for us, we have consistent referrals from home builders, and so we know that works for us, and we take them to lunches and happy hours and build those relationships, and we do it over and over and over. And so maybe it's open houses, maybe it's farming. You just have to figure that piece out and just repeat it, and it's led to consistent listings for us. And I think there's 4 or 5 or 6 ways out there. We all know it. You just have to figure out what works for you and do it over and over and put people in place that can duplicate that.
I know for me, just making a lot of noise on social media and just having my sphere see that I'm active in real estate, and either showcasing it by a listing or like we had earlier this year, we threw a party at one of our nice listings and really had kind of a lifestyle video shoot. And we got a lot of good buzz from that and generated some really nice listing appointments. And it actually helped increase our average listing price. So just being, you know, just trying to be very vocal on social so that people think that we're the expert. And say you're not the expert, then the more times that they see you, they will start thinking that you're the expert.
Right.
Yeah, I want to chime in on that again, which I appreciate you talking about that. A lot of you may not be that listing agent that you want to be, but you have a camera, you have a Facebook audience, and like you said, video, but oftentimes you're thinking, well, my video has to be perfect. Look, just selfie mode, turn on the button, get in front of that neighborhood sign, and position yourself as the authority of that community. And people are going to assume that you are providing, I mean, obviously the authority there, and just provide value there. It doesn't have to be a high production. It doesn't have to be something that you have to get a video camera crew. Gusty and I coach with the same coach, and he says that my crappy video will outperform your non-existing video all day long. Get on video, guys. You know, get on video and do things that are going to move the needle. And those of you who say, I don't really do video, well, you need to start. And whether it's video to your prospect that you just spoke to and just saying, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you. People are not excited about text that much. Doesn't move the needle versus your emotions that you can convey about the excitement about working with them. And also, again, just don't focus on the high production. Don't look at someone in your neighborhood that's already doing high production. Just be you, be authentic, and press play. And start recording and get in front of those neighborhoods that you want to dominate in.
Yeah, and I think like even one thing that you could do is say you don't have a listing, but there's a neighborhood that you really like, or maybe that you want to farm. Then what you were talking about, Veronica, go in and shoot a selfie video in front of that neighborhood sign. Talk about the amenities of why somebody would want to live there. And then you could start that farming campaign, start a Facebook campaign of getting out there. And just people, if you do one video about a community, people are going to think that you're an expert of that community, whether you've sold a house in that community or not.
Kind of piggybacking on that. So I think you need 3 different sources that you can manage, maybe 4. You know, one should be your sphere of influence that you're really taking care of. Another one should be, you know, lead generation, internet leads. Those kind of come and go. And the third for me happens to be our neighborhood mayors program, where we go in and we try to really dominate a neighborhood. But my point there is that if you notice, there's several different ways to accomplish your goal. And I think you need to follow what is in line with your personality. You know, for me, it's real easy, and this became very apparent to me. I'm very social, so I'm out there. So dominating a neighborhood, or at least going in and being very social with events and all these kind of things, like Veronica, we get along well because we're very similar in that type of personality. I've got an agent on my team that he tried it. He was we called him a mini mayor. We set him up in the neighborhood. He was going to town, and he came into my office, and it's like, Andrew, this is like very difficult for me. I can't do this. Well, okay, what do you want to do? He's retired healthcare industry. He was an executive, so we set him up with a relocation program that we built for him to go into the hospitals where he knew the language, he was already comfortable, and he's been killing it. He's got 3 of the major hospitals, and he's on the 1 of 3 rotation lists, and he's got a really, really good niche there. So that's his deal, and he's running with it. We could tell you about our neighborhoods and builder programs, but you've got to find what is aligned with your passion and kind of run with that, I think.
Right. Now, niches. There's riches and niches, no doubt about that. So, I think that's something that, as I've seen a lot of agents be successful, is finding something that you love or you have a passion about. Obviously, for you, it's the lake, right? Same for me. But you can pick that as a market and make that what you dominate, and so that's awesome. All right. So, what's the number one buyer lead source you guys have, and how are you converting it? Any secret sauce to that?
I mean, for us, it's Sphere. 67% of our business is Sphere, referrals, and past clients. And so just being consistent on follow-up with newsletters, whether it's email or mail, and being vocal on social. So I don't think that we'll ever see anything change from us, but we also do radio, we do Zillow, we do Google pay-per-click, we do Facebook. I mean, we've got 21 different lead sources, but it's all about the Sphere.
Gotcha.
I second that. We're pretty much dead spot on with you, and we try to keep the new leads coming in to dump them into the big funnel, but at the end of the day, it's what we nurture.
Yeah, we are very heavy on online, Zillow, and we try different portals as well, but repeat business is a big part of our business, and I look at sometimes the online sources that a lot of people say, we only focus on repeat business and referrals. Well, so do we. We take that introduction, that new client that maybe doesn't have a relationship with an agent, and that person we now turn into repeat business over and over and over again, and that's how we have built a business that can support the careers of many new agents. We teach them how to hunt, not just in the field, but also learn how to manage our database and outbound and follow up and service people who maybe started their search online and maintain a relationship with them.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret sauce to converting. It's all about follow-up for us, and we made a big switch about 6 months ago where we're tracking every lead. And so whether you're selling, 500 homes or 10, you need to track every lead that comes through and follow up. And so there's not going to be a secret sauce to it. We're not rocket scientists. So if you're not tracking what you're doing, then you're not going to be able to hold yourself accountable, and you're not going to be able to convert the leads. So I think if you're not using the CRM, you're not using the technology, I think you gotta do that.
Right. Okay, it's time to get open and real. So we all have failures in our businesses, especially as successful as you are. You had to have had some major setbacks. What's the biggest setback or failure you've encountered in building this big business?
I've had so many. I mean, I honestly, from just hiring the wrong people, not being clear on my vision, getting caught up in the ego that gets involved in this business, not knowing our numbers. But, we all have an opportunity to fix that, right? We learn from our mistakes. And I think that the biggest mistake I ever made was not giving myself permission to make mistakes. And I now embrace them. I'm very vulnerable and open and honest about the mistakes we've made. I haven't always been the best leader, the best agent, but every day I wake up just knowing I can be better tomorrow. And that's really changed our business, is giving myself permission to look at the mistakes we made and say, what did I learn about myself, right, along this journey? And okay, today's my day to be better than what I was yesterday. And that's really been something that helped us grow.
Right.
I feel like for us, it's been really, I guess, selfish is a bad word, but being guarded with your time and your efforts. There's certain things that I know that I'm willing to do. I was in the back dealing with it, and Jay's going to give me a lot of crap about this in a little bit, but I had a very strategic client that I knew would be very influential in one of our neighborhoods, and I had to take care of an issue that just came up, and that's not something that makes me angry, because you think you have everything squared away and everything up front, and people can handle some things, but I did have to step in, and that's something I'm willing to do. But at the end of the day, you have to say no. Somebody else can do that better than yourself. And I was the king of, hey, they can't do it as well as I can. They can't do this. And every step of the way, when I let go of it, hired good people, they did it a lot better than me. And I think that was a big thing for me, just letting go and understanding that.
If you don't change the outcome, you shouldn't be doing it, right? And in that case, I think, you're talking about a very influential client. You stepped in because you made a difference in the outcome, right? So last question. So you coming over to EXP, how has that changed your paradigm as far as growing your business and taking it to the next level?
Yeah, so we came from a brokerage that there was never any collaboration or culture. I was 0 for 0 on conventions, and now I've been at EXP for a year, and I'm 3 for 3. And so just realizing that there are people at this company that will absolutely help you any way. And for us, we didn't realize what we didn't know, and that there's so many rock stars doing stuff that are so different than us. And once we finally realized and opened up our eyes of learning from other people and pouring into them and them pouring into us, it's basically doubled our business when we've sort of gone that mindset. And I think EXP has been a big part of it because of the culture and people like you guys willing to help us and us do the same. So it's been a game changer for us.
That's awesome.
Well, so I had a independent brokerage that was a top 5 real estate brokerage in our market, and had the top team in our market, and so having to put that kind of baby away was tough for me. But you always have to look at what is the right thing for all your agents. And to me, this is the best training opportunity that's out there. And I couldn't create the content from a training standpoint to better my agents. And so that was number one for me. And really kind of the icing on the cake was all the other stuff, the stocks and the revenue share. So now what it's going to do for me and my family is we're going to be able to grow outside of Birmingham. We're going to be able to grow nationwide and globally. So it's going to have a huge impact on pretty much anybody that we touch from a real estate standpoint in our market. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm less than 2 months in, and it's a grand slam.
All right. Thank you guys. All right.